If I was going to start another business now from scratch, I would know what it's like to build a business from nothing.
And would you
do it?
So
I'd be absolutely I'd be like, oh my God, I know what I'm taking on. But I was just like, oh, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
I'll be fine. It's like, how hard could it be? I was a bit like that, a bit naive really to the situation.
This week's guest on JobsWorth is Melissa Stone, founder of the Melrose Clinic in Leigh-on-Sea. That bit's right. That's the easy bit. After spending a decade working as a midwife in the NHS, Mel made the leap into medical aesthetics in 2019. Today, she not only treats clients, but also trains other medical practitioners in aesthetic procedures, all with a focus on ethical results.
Yeah.
That's all good?
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to dive in. Opening tradition on the podcast. When you were younger, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be a vet.
Okay, we've had a few vets.
Yeah, I
like
wanted to be
vets.
a vet.
Okay, because you're animal mad.
I'm literally animal mad.
You put this on your form.
And,
okay.
Yeah, and then I kind of realised how much maths and science I'd have to do. And thought, maybe that's not for me.
So it was a short-lived dream.
Yeah, I thought maybe that's not for me.
Right.
But yeah, I do still love animals.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you remember, I always ask, do you remember your earliest memory of thinking, I would like to be a vet?
I don't know. We always had like loads of pets at home. I was always nagging my parents for more and more pets. And I was that kid that was out going into next door's garden, taking newts out of their pond, all of that kind of thing. Just, I don't know what my earliest memory is, but from very young, I was just obsessed.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will match a shared experience very quickly. Chilkwell Park, when the frog spawn was there, I used to go there with a bucket, take the frog spawn home, stick it in a paddling pool in the garden.
Yep, same.
2 weeks later, thousands of frogs in the garden. Like it was just ridiculous.
Oh, I loved that.
Yeah.
I loved that.
What happened to that? Just go, kids, get down Chilkwell Park with a bucket. Don't do that. That's silly. Silly advice to give. What drew you, first off, into midwifery? Because sometimes I go and take the questions back to school.
Yeah.
And I don't think we need to go all the way back there, but I just want to know what drew you into midwifery, because it's a slightly different world to the one that you're operating in now.
True.
So what was it about midwifery and becoming a midwife that kind of led you down that path?
So I also, as well as loving animals, I loved babies. Okay. I very quickly learned that actually midwifery babies are quite a small part of it.
It's the very end.
It's the very end.
Yeah.
There's a lot more before that. But I really wanted to do a nurturing job. So like being a vet, I wanted to care for animals just was really obsessed with pregnancy and wanted to do a job where there's lots of empathy and caring, basically. That makes me sound very like Mother Teresa, but I just wanted to do something where it was different every day. I wasn't sitting in an office with people providing a caring service. Yeah.
Was it signposted for you at school as a career path? How did you get into it?
I don't really know. I feel like it was my mum. I feel like, not that my mum's a midwife, but I feel like my mum was just like, you'd be really good at that. Right. That would be something that would be, good for you and that you'd thrive in.
Yeah, so there were qualities and traits that you had where maybe she said, have you thought about that? Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Did you have much inspiration around you growing up from parents or family to go down different routes, or was once you were told midwifery might be a good path to go down? I don't know any other midwives or anything like that, but my mum and dad were always very much like, they'd love us all to have a degree. So what's going to be your degree? Right. I don't know. I think she just kind of encouraged it because I was really baby obsessed. Okay. And like pregnancy obsessed. So I think that's I have to ask, whether this makes the podcast or not, why pregnancy obsessed?
I don't know.
What was that? What about it?
It was really interesting.
Yeah. Like the physiology, the changes that you go through, again, exactly. If you're a nurturing person, being able to support someone through that.
Yeah,
because what a bloody miracle. Like what, and to have experienced that for as long as you did, like 10 years.
That's it. And I think also I did realise that once you had like either a nursing degree or midwifery degree, it can lead you into other things. It's not, it's one of those jobs where there are so many different avenues you can go down.
Yeah.
You're not going to just be stuck doing the same thing all the time, you know. You can do antenatal care, you can do private, you can go out into the community. And I'm definitely someone who doesn't like sitting still for too long. Okay. So I think that was part of the attraction as well. Like it could be quite quick pace. It's almost like being a midwife on labour ward is almost like being an A&E because anyone could just walk in. Yeah. And that kind of interests me as well, I guess. Yeah. I actually can't remember what your question was, but yeah. Anyway.
No, I mean, the quick pace thing is just lends itself to running a business, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And being in that environment, maybe some of the skills, and that is a question I'll ask in a second, what skills did you take from 10 years in the NHS that maybe help you in your business today? But pace being one of them, problem solving, people skills, being able to adapt really quickly, being able to get, and this sounds a little bit bad, but been able to get someone to trust you in a positive way really quickly. Like when you're delivering someone's baby, you've got to make them like you pretty quickly, so they trust you and they feel comfortable, and that woman is like, you know, her life, and the baby's life is in your hands. That definitely helps in business. Like these clients come into me and they're looking at me they trust me with their face, you know. They want me to, you know, do treatments and make them feel good, make them look good. So that in a positive way. It's building rapport and having a connection. It's all positive.
Yeah,
it's all
exactly.
positive.
Yeah.
Isn't that's really, if you're in anything where you're providing a service and people are on the receiving end of it, you have to build rapport and build trust. Yeah. And what more vulnerable position than when you are about to give birth?
Exactly.
You are as exposed as you could possibly be at that stage.
Yeah.
And I guess there are similarities, maybe not as exposed, but people are trusting you, as you say, with their face.
And they're talking to me about their insecurities and maybe something that's bothered them for years. And it is vulnerable, like when they come in to clinic and they're like exposing their self-esteem issues and things like that. So it's kind of, you know, exposed in different ways, of course.
Yeah, of course. So what was your experience? And I'm asking you to consolidate 10 years of working for the NHS, but what was your experience like? That's a really broad question.
So I loved providing care for the women at that amazing time in their life. Like I absolutely loved that. What a privilege to be involved in something so special. Working for the NHS, I hated.
Right.
I absolutely hated. I felt like you can't do your job properly simply because there's not enough members of staff.
Right.
You're under so much pressure. You're basically overworked, underpaid, unappreciated by the management, not by the women. The women appreciate the work you do, but I used to leave most days and feel like I couldn't do my job as well as I'd like to because just the pressure that's on the NHS. So I would never go back to it for that reason.
But a decade to stay in that environment, there must have been something. But it was the job, it was the relationships with the women, it was the feeling of purpose maybe that you connected with.
I think it wasn't until I had my daughter that it made me think, I need to do something else. Like I can't do this. I was pretty unhappy really throughout my time being a midwife. Like I kind of dreaded going to work, which isn't, and when I was there I was fine, but I used to get a bit like, especially the night shifts. No one likes night shifts. But yeah, it just used to fill me with dread because you just don't know what you're walking into.
So this is what the podcast's about. I want people that think about work and feel dread to listen to this and think, I don't
do something else.
Yeah, I don't have to live my life like that.
Yeah.
And by hearing people that have done exactly the same thing, felt dread, felt like they needed to get out of that situation, actually did it.
Yeah.
The hope is that they will be inspired to go and do the same. So it's really, as horrible as it was that you went through that experience, I love it. Because it's the exact kind of experience that people need to get out of if they are feeling that. Work doesn't have to leave you feeling like that every day.
It's so true. And the majority of other women that I know that have gone through the training to become a midwife have qualified and been like, this isn't what I thought it was going to be because the NHS is in such a state, you know. But there are options. Anyone can change their job. Doesn't matter what, you know, what age you are, what you're doing, you can change at any point, can't you? This is the thing.
Well, this is it. And this is what I'm hoping gives people confidence by hearing these stories. You talked about a night shift, and that was one of the pivotal moments when you had your daughter. And I wanted to ask more broadly first, and then I'm going to ask you specifically about that night shift. But how did your relationship with work change when you became a mum? Because
completely changed.
You're front line delivering babies, and then you Does that make it harder?
Oh, yeah, midwives are terrible at having babies.
Okay, I was going to say.
Yeah, because we think everything's wrong with us.
Right. I guess you're diagnosing all the time, aren't you?
Because exactly. Because your brain is kind of programmed to look for things going wrong when a woman's in labour. Unfortunately, that's what you're trying to,
Of course, the signs, warning signs, yeah.
That when you're pregnant yourself and in labour, you just think it's all going wrong. That's it. But yeah, it did change completely. Mainly my priorities changed because obviously I'm a single parent. And so when I was doing my shifts, I relied entirely on my parents to help me with childcare. And I just didn't want to be there anymore. I was like, I don't want her to come and do these 12-hour shifts and leave her and not know. It's not just the shifts in the working environment, it's the rota. You could be, I've left her on Christmas Day. She was only little, she didn't know. I told her more recently and she was fuming. I was like, it was years ago, you didn't get over it. It was years ago.
Like,
you didn't even know about it.
It's now become a core memory. If you've not mentioned it, it's been all right. I can't believe you did
that. But it's my priorities changed completely. I was like, it was all about her and providing, a life for us that worked, and like that I wanted to just make those changes so we had more freedom and I didn't miss her assemblies and didn't, bye darling, I'm going on a night shift, I'm going to nannies again. Like, I just didn't want to do it.
How quickly did you identify that there was a route out? Because I guess there's that feeling sometimes when you know something needs to change, but knowing what needs to change and what you need to do to make that change is the next step, isn't it? So how quickly after having your daughter did that happen?
When I actually, because I didn't have my notice in until, must have been, was it 2019? It was just before lockdown. Great move. I think it was 2019 when I got the clinic was when I handed my notice in. So I cut my hours down first of all. So I went back after maternity leave and I was like, I hate this. And then I kept making my contract shorter. I was like, I'm doing less and less hours because I just hated being there. And then but I don't remember like an actual moment. I think it was straight away, really. When I went back, I felt different about the job, but I was stuck in it for a little while, I'd just come off maternity leave, I had no money. I needed to be back in there. And
it's a needs must situation, isn't it? It's a necessity to go in. You've now got your daughter and you've got to provide as well. And that, I think, is an impossible situation as a parent, but as someone that knows they're not loving what they're doing. Like, you have to make the money. You've got this job. Like, you're bound by that a lot of the time. So then what was the leap? What was the catalyst to then make the leap into aesthetics? That is what came next.
There was a really bad night shift. There was a night shift where I think like I had like a couple of women in labour at the same time, which is impossible because you're meant to be one-to-one in labour, but this does happen. Unfortunately, I'm exposing all the NHS now. But, I'm looking after someone, she's in labour, and then someone else walked in and I thought, I feel like I can't do the job that I want to do. And I'd already thought about doing aesthetics, like it kind of popped into my brain. And I actually handed in my notice there and then. You have to work, when you've worked obviously for a company for quite a while, like you still have to work your notice, which I think mine was quite long, but I literally typed out at 3 o'clock in the morning, my hand in my notice right then, that shift. I was like, I'm done.
So that
I'm
was
not
like
doing
a eureka moment, almost lightning struck,
like,
and you had enough.
I was already doing aesthetics at that point, I've just remembered, but I was doing it part-time. It was meant to be a side hustle.
Okay.
And then I was like, no, I'm just going to do it full time. I'm going to make it work. And I was done. And I think my mum was like, really a bit stupid. And I was like, I'm going to do it.
I'm going to show you. So going back to the point that you made about maybe your mum wanting the kids to have a degree.
Yeah.
So you've ticked that box and you've done this decade-long career in a job that I think outwardly a lot of people respect it.
That's it.
Maybe internally, management and the way you manage and definitely the way you're paid, it's not got anywhere near as much value as it deserves.
Yeah.
But your mum has seen that.
Yeah.
And then she's seen you make this change.
Yeah,
but I would imagine as well she knows what's happening. You're unhappy, you're disengaged with work as well.
Yeah, she was aware, but it's just one of those, get on with it, go to work.
That's a generational thing, isn't it, sometimes? It's all right.
Get on with it. It's a job. You're not meant to love every second.
Yeah. She'd hate this podcast.
Yeah.
As I'm trying to buck that trend completely. But when did aesthetics, so you're doing it part-time, how does that even come up on your radar? What was your experience with it and what was the gateway for you?
Do you know what? This sounds so cheesy, but it was like reality TV.
Okay.
Like Kardashians and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I was like, quite obsessed with the whole celebrity culture when I was younger, and loved watching like the Kardashians, and you'd see them having things done, and I just thought, well, that'd be really cool to do.
Yeah.
And that, in all honesty, and then a few people said to me, oh, you can do that, like with your registration. You can. I mean, anyone. To be honest, anyone can do it now, can't they? There's no regulation. But I'm sure a few people suggested it to me, and I was just really interested in the whole celebrity culture and all these, Housewives of Beverly Hills, all that stuff. I was like really into that.
It started to become a lot more prevalent, didn't it? Like that was my first experience of seeing faces evolve on TV was Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Yeah,
exactly.
it was all of that stuff changing. Yeah. So it does feel like it was the kind of watermark moment where it started to become a bit more mainstream, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
And I just thought, that might be interesting. That might be good.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so...
And then that became a part-time thing for you. So again, you're talking about your degree and midwifery being a bit of a gateway. So you've got I'm going to struggle for the word, but you've got some of the deeper level, the foundational understanding to be able to go then forward and do some specific courses in aesthetics. What was the reaction? I'm going to ask, what was the reaction of your mum when you started saying, I'm going to go and start practicing in aesthetics? After midwifery, which is seen one way, aesthetics may have a stigma around it, again, if we're thinking generationally.
To her was safe. It was like in this safe job where you're always going to be needed.
Sturdy, NHS is going to be around forever.
She was a little bit concerned. But I already, as I said, like I was already doing it, and I was doing really well because there wasn't as many clinics and practitioners. And I didn't have a clinic at this point. I was just working in other people's clinics around Essex and building up a clientele that way.
I guess that's the model for people. If you don't have your own premises, that's what you're starting to do.
You just move around and you do like, 1 day a week there and the next, and that sort of thing. She was concerned. She was like, are you sure that you've got enough clients to pay your bills, basically?
Yeah.
And I was a bit like, I'm gonna make that happen, like, so she was a little bit worried.
Did that affect your decision or how you felt about handing your notice in and leaving?
I'm a little bit like, if you're worried or tell me that I can't do something, I will do it, and I'll do it. Like, okay, I'm a little bit like that.
Yeah.
Not so much anymore. Back then, I was a bit more fearless. Now, I don't know. I think I'm getting a bit more sensible as I've turned 40. Like, a bit not quite as like, yeah.
You only turned 40 very recently, though. So
it feels like I've been it for ages, for 3 weeks.
The sensible stage hasn't started for.
But no, I am. I am a little bit like that. If someone says, "Oh, you can't do that," or "Oh, are you sure?" I'm like, "I'm fine." Like, we'll just kind of, So
that's a character trait.
A little bit of a character trait.
A little bit of doubt, and you're like, "No, I'm going to show you."
I've always kind of done. This is the other thing working for the NHS. I'm not very good at working for people.
That's a good thing to identify about yourself, though, isn't it?
I don't really. I remember I used to work for Tesco's when I was at school, like college still, and I made up my own shift because I didn't like the shift they gave me. So I just go in at my own time, clock in. Terrible.
How did that work out? I can't imagine.
They just didn't realise for a good year. I was just doing like 4:15 to 7:15, like just a couple of hours.
As and when.
And then they were like, that wasn't a shift. And I was like, sorry, what do you mean?
Amazing.
Like that. I was like, I don't understand. But so the idea of having my own business and doing my own thing, I was like, I'd be fine.
Yeah.
I'll be fine with it.
So how quickly, part-time transition out of the NHS, you handed your notice in, you've gone through that. Yeah. Was that moment where you were like, oh shit, this is very real now?
Oh God, yeah. Okay. Like completely.
Do you still have that?
Yeah, I was, but I didn't let anyone know.
Okay.
No, it was a bit like, oh God, what have I done? Because I was like, I'll just get my own clinic and I'll get one on Lee Broadway, which is very expensive, and I'll have a really big clinic. And then we went into lockdown. So that was fun. So
I was going to ask about this.
There was a few like, shit.
Whenever I saw, so the previous guest this evening also started their business in 2019, and whenever I see 2019, I started my business in 2019. Yeah. Whenever I see it, I know exactly how I felt when that first lockdown was announced, and I cried on my sofa watching Boris fucking Johnson say we're bumbling his way through this speech with like the bedside manner that would have, not seen him be a midwife. And I remember crying, thinking that is it. Yeah. I am done before I've even started. 6 months in and it's done. What was your experience? You're in a very different world. I run a recruitment agency. You are in a different world than me. I don't want to take you back too much if it's a scarring moment.
The problem was, so I handed my notice in. I hadn't done any bank for a while. So as a midwife, you can go on the bank, which means you're kind of like not employed by the trust, but you can go and do shifts as a bank midwife.
Understood.
Right?
Okay, right.
And I hadn't done any bank for ages, so I couldn't even do bank shifts. And then I had this clinic and I just had it all done up and I'd put every penny I had into it and I'd got out loans and this and all of that. And then couldn't do anything. Couldn't work as a midwife, couldn't inject any clients. Luckily, I did have clients that were like ready and waiting because I've been doing it for 2 years part-time. So I knew they were there and they'd be ready.
You got your client base ready and raring.
Yeah, it was really scary. And just like, I was like, oh my God, how am I gonna pay the rent on this building that I've not even used? It wasn't even completely finished. I remember the builders they were doing the tiling and they were like, they're gonna shut the schools, and I was like, don't be so stupid. And yeah, so the clinic was half finished. Me and my dad finished it in lockdown.
Do you remember those murmurings of things like that? They're going to shut the schools and they're going to...
Yeah, it's
think
really weird, isn't it? When you think about it, it feels like we were like, I don't know, it's strange.
6 years ago. Yeah. What's the date today? I mean, was it the 20th of March? So we're like nine days, something around then. So we are basically 6 years out from what happened. Yeah. And I remember those conversations happening like, oh, it's going to... And still laughing it off. Yeah. Still laughing it off. Like, it'll all be fine. And then, that crushing feeling of, oh my God, how are we going to survive it? Yeah,
it was, I was like, oh my God, it was just horrible. But... you just have to make do, didn't you? Like I was like, oh my God, just hoping that they'll all still be there. And then I was hearing through the grapevine that some clinics were like opening sneakily and that. And I was thinking my clients are going to go to them. Like I was kind of messaging them, just making sure that, you're ready for me when I open. Please don't go anywhere. Like,
it was one of the, I guess, hardest hit industries as well. Like I don't know how quickly you opened up after lockdowns. It's probably opening, closing.
Like
and it's kind of yo-yo thing.
Because it's close contact, so it was like one of the last things to start back up.
But what a baptism of fire when you're just starting out.
God,
you've gone through all this angst and money and investment, and then that happens as well.
Exactly.
But this amount of time later down the line, you're here.
Yeah, exactly. Incredible. It was scary. And
was there regret? Was there a moment where you thought, oh, I've made the wrong decision?
I didn't really regret it. I quite like a challenge, to be honest. I'm one of those people, like I'm great in an emergency, but I'll stress over absolutely nothing. But there's an emergency, something going on, I will be fine. I'm like, everyone keep calm. And so I was a bit like, well, how bad can it get? Like we've all just been locked in our houses it can't get any worse, can it?
True. Yeah.
So when we got back open, I was lucky. I did have clients that were ready and waiting, luckily. And then I also had people that were renting rooms. So I've got the other rooms you weren't using rented out really quickly. I didn't have other injectors working for me at that point. It was just me. Yeah. But I had other people that wanted to rent rooms from me. So to help me pay the rent. So I literally just got them in. I was like, are you in there? And then...
But you've got no prior business experience before you come and set this up.
I've been making up as I go along, completely
but that's so liberating to admit and say that out loud, isn't it?
I don't know what I'm doing half the time.
you are very, I can share that outlook. I definitely feel every day I wake up and I'm like, oh my God, the business is still going.
Yeah,
how have I winged it this far? I think that's really heartening for people to hear.
Yeah.
I don't think you need to have all your shit together to go and start something. And that would be very scary for some, and it will stop them in their tracks. If you're not that type of, I don't even know if it's a personality or you don't have that outlook, you'll never get it done. But actually that's probably what's holding you back as well. Like you just have to start at some point. But saying that now, that's easy.
Yeah.
Has there been points in running your business where you thought, oh my God, I'm so in over my head.
Oh,
how am I going to survive this next bit?
I think at the beginning, you don't realise how hard it's going to be. So you don't think it's that scary. Like if I was going to start another business now from scratch, I would know what it's like to build a business from nothing.
And would you do it?
So I would be absolutely, no. So I'd be absolutely I'd be like, oh my God, I know what I'm taking on. But I was just like, oh, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
I'll be fine. It's like, how hard could it be? I was a bit like that, a bit naive really to the situation.
Well, we've had a previous guest on and we were talking about the importance of naivety. Like not knowing actually means you do it. Because if the whole path for the next 6 years of business was set out in front of you and you knew what you had to do, the likelihood is I'm never taking that work on.
Exactly.
What, and you mean I'm probably not going to make much money through that time until a certain point as well.
Yeah, that's it. You don't realise.
How long into running Melrose did you get to a point where you were like, this is working? I'm in and it's working? Or did you always have that belief, despite feeling like you were winging it? Did you have that belief that it was going to work?
I've always believed it's going to work because I'm someone that I think it's an ego thing. I haven't really got like a big ego as such because I'm actually quite like a bit of a worrier. I'm always like looking for reassurance and things, but I wouldn't like anyone to see me fail. And like, especially my daughter, like my daughter's watching. Okay. I want her to grow up and be like, my mum's like amazing. And and so I've always believed it's going to be fine. I'll just make it work.
That's self-belief. That's not
just
ego.
Make it work. I've definitely made mistakes. Oh my God, like loads of mistakes, we've had staff changes, things like that. But I think I would never I'd never just give up on it and let it fail. Yeah. So in my head, I'm like, I think
I'm making it work. Or you go down with a ship, or you make it work along the way.
Yeah.
How has your motivation changed since starting the business? Because you start the business because it's to a degree a means to an end. Right. Mm-hmm. I can make money doing this. Yeah. I've left a job that I didn't like anymore, and now I need to make money with a skill set that I have. Yeah. I guess you get to a point as you carry on 6-7 years in, motivation's changed now. You're established. You've got your client base. You've got things going on. You've got additional services, and you're now. I would imagine you weren't training other practitioners at the start, and you are now.
Yeah.
So how has your motivation changed?
It has changed. I actually find it hard to keep stable motivation, but I think that's pretty normal. I go through phases where I'm really like, right, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to build this, and other times where I'm just like, it's fine just to let it be and just to be where you're at for a little while and just because I have grown it more than I thought I was going to. And I didn't really have a plan, but I was just happy it just being me and people renting rooms. And I do feel like sometimes I take on a bit, not too much, but I take on a lot. I'm like, let's employ another injector. Yeah. Let's start the training. And then I get really overwhelmed, and then I have to like calm it down. So
the accelerator goes, and you start getting too fast, and you're like,
that's it. And I'm like, well, so I feel like my motivation probably isn't as consistent as it was when I first started the business because otherwise, I just think it's a lot. Otherwise,
it's the motivation at the start is survival, isn't it?
Exactly.
It's survival.
You just got to.
It's earning enough money to pay rent and get enough people in the rooms that they can contribute to your rent and getting your client list consistent and that losing. I'm not going to say. I am going to say it because I have to say it. I'm not going to say it. I don't want to say imposter syndrome. Yeah. But you're overcoming something. Yeah. In running a business, you've never done it before. So just wearing that business owner hat is really difficult. So motivation comes from, I need to learn my shit. If I don't, I'm out of here. Then you hit a plateau, and by that I mean you're sustainable. You know your client base is there, you know you're making money. Yeah. But there is something about people that run their own business that's not enough.
Yeah, it's so true.
The more
overwhelmed I get, the more I'm like, oh, let's do this and let's do new treatments and this, that and the other. And I'm like, and then I'm like, and then I'm all right again. It's just,
Out of pure curiosity, how long does that feeling of overwhelm last for you before you're then thinking about the next idea?
It's really cool. I have ADHD.
Right.
And so I'm a bit like that. Okay. I like a little dopamine hit. So something new, oh my God, let's do this. And then I'm like, oh my God, it's too much. So mine's quite a quick up and down with that.
Okay.
Yeah, right. It's quite a quick cycle. But I do get into a bit of, I've noticed like recently, I'll go through a couple of weeks where I'm a bit like, I just need to be chill and just do not minimal, but just get through. Yeah. And then I'll be like, okay, right now let's build it again and let's do this and let's do that. It's like a bit of a weekly. I know it's weekly.
I had in my head weekly.
Up and down. Yeah, I think it maybe is weekly. Yeah. I don't know.
Tom will know. Because I messaged Tom and I'm like, oh, Tom, it's too overwhelming, like the podcast, because the podcast is just passion project completely. And Tom will be the recipient of a message. Really stressed this week. I don't know if we need to carry on. Like, this is silly. And then the next week, I'm like, Tom, we need to do this. I've had this idea, but it's literally a weekly. Sorry, Tom, but it's like a roller coaster. It's this weekly thing all the time of peaks and troughs.
Lucy gets it from me. Lucy, my social media manager, she knows if I don't want to film, it's one of those weeks. I'm like, no. Yeah. I'm like, no, not feeling too good. Not feeling it. Yeah. Not feeling myself. Imposter syndrome. I get a bit like, no, I'm not. No,
I'm not the person that can give this message today. No.
I'll just do my clients and that's it. I'm not running the business this week. I'm just going to, like that.
But I think identifying that is really powerful. Yeah. Because although I did see on social media, you did feel like that recently, and Lucy just came and filmed something and it turned out really good. Yeah. So there is also an element. There is also an element of pushing outside your comfort zone sometimes,
Yeah.
but actually knowing sometimes just take your foot off the accelerator doesn't mean the world's crashing down, doesn't mean you're not good enough.
It's internalized, isn't it? It's like, no, you don't. Everyone else thinks you're just feeling normal, but inside you're having a bit of a stressed out week or whatever.
Yeah.
But I do find if you do just push through, it ends up being fine, doesn't it, really? But I do believe it's nice to have a little breaks as well.
I think
we should
so.
allow ourselves to just have a little down week. And
Yeah, because we're still, it's maybe not as glamorized now, but hustle culture is still a thing, right?
Yeah.
There's still this big narrative that we need to be striving and working all the time.
Yeah.
It's now being counterbalanced slightly by the fact that people are saying, no, slow down, get your work-life balance sorted. And, where do you sit?
Yeah, exactly. Which one?
Where is the fine line?
Yeah.
What side are you supposed to fall on it? Has your definition of success changed since running the business?
Oh my God, 100%. So success when I first started was like just having a busy clinic, the clients coming through the door, and a full diary.
Right.
But now it's more client sort of satisfaction. Obviously that was always important, but success for me now is having the freedom, however my business is, whatever my diary looks like, but just having the freedom to live my life how I want to live it.
Nice.
Do you know what I mean? Being able
definitely.
to do what you want to do and be happy in it as well, because having a full diary can actually be really stressful.
Yeah,
and that's
doesn't
not
equate to happiness. Yeah,
that's not. I'd rather sort of just have a good balance in life, and that's success, I think.
Do you feel like you're striking that balance with where you've got the business to now, or again, does it sometimes tip either side of the line depending on where you are?
Well, the plan was always to build it enough and then have other staff members on, so then I can not step back from clients. I'll always inject. I love seeing my clients, but and run the business a bit more. But then
delegate a little more.
Delegate, but I don't seem to do that. I just seem to take on more staff, and they're great. Like they're building up clientele beautifully. But I don't know. I think I'm my own worst enemy sometimes. I make myself too busy, yeah.
But again, what I've identified for anyone running a business, it's the same story. Like no one really knows how to identify what enough is.
Yeah.
Because we've all got an idea, and then when we hit it, sometimes we just pass that finish line of what enough was without even recognising it, and you're on to the next thing and the next thing.
And I keep moving the goalpost. I mean, I think it's best just not to have a goalpost really, but you do set yourself targets, and then I'm like, brilliant, anyway, can we now double that? Or like, can we now get that many clients in, or numbers here, or reach that target? But
if you can carry on striving but also get the balance right, then why not? Maybe that is the dream to keep
I think so.
Achieving for yourself and reaching all these markers, but also have some downtime, have some time with your family. And
it's definitely enabled me to do things that I never would have been able to do with being a midwife. Like, my daughter, we go on lovely holidays. We have a nice, nice house and a nice area. Like, I feel like I have a lot more freedom.
Yeah.
And I mean, all her hobbies cost me a fortune, to be honest. I'm just keeping her in these like slime and Nido, all these collectible things that these kids love.
Yeah.
So I definitely think that it's given me so much more freedom, really.
You said as well that maybe the NHS and the environment you're in wasn't allowing you to do the job the way you wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And now I would imagine the environment you created for yourself is giving you that.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
And what is that? What are we taking from midwifery into this? Again, nurturing and giving people time? Because I imagine time was not 100%. Something you could always give in the NHS.
100%. Like, for example, our consultation process when clients come through the door, it's changed so much over the years. Aesthetics used to be see a line, treat a line, so to speak. Whereas now it's a client comes in, we're doing a full assessment, and not just of what they look like. They're talking to them about how they feel about themselves, about their diet, about everything, their self-esteem, what they'd like to achieve, and then giving them that time to express themselves and talk to us and feel really comfortable in expressing what they want to achieve. And I think I just want clients to leave feeling confident and happy and feeling their best. Like, we all just want to look good and feel good, don't we? And it's just So I do feel like we were able to do that at the clinic, and I'm very, very passionate about that consultation process and like first impressions and just giving the clients time and follow up and checking they're okay and checking they've got everything they've needed.
Well, these decisions that people are making, there's an impact to that, isn't there?
Yeah.
And actually, it's really heartening to hear that the consultation process talks about stuff that isn't just the superficial skin on your
100%.
face. And I'm completely ignorant to the I'm sure the long list of treatments that you provide. But if you've got someone that comes in, I think there's an amount of diligence that you need to make sure you were doing, I would imagine, before you start treatment on someone to really understand, have you thought it through? What are we really tackling?
Yeah, 100%.
That's beyond, this is going to sound so wanky, beyond skin deep.
It's so, you loved that, didn't you?
Wait, I just crossed that out.
It's so true though, it's so true. You know, body dysmorphia is such a huge problem, especially with social media, with edited images, and we are very good at like recognizing it when someone comes in, but also someone's idea of what looks good and what looks nice and what looks natural, it can be completely different to another person. So it's being able to recognize that when someone comes in, they could list all of these things that they think is going on with their face, and I might not be able to see any of them. And I have to then, say, I don't think you're suitable for that. We turn people down a lot. This is a thing. And there's one advice I'd give anyone who does aesthetic treatments or thinking about having them done. You need to go to an injector who is happy to say no, because it's so important. There's so many different treatments. Not everyone's suitable for everything, and it's completely personalised. And we say no a lot. We have clients that come in that go, I want you to do this. And we're like, if that doesn't match what we're trying to put out there, we're all about natural but noticeable results. So we want the client to feel good and look and see what we've done, but no one else to know what they've had done. So it's kind of trying to make sure we're on the same page as a client as well.
Is that something you've learned over time in the industry? I would imagine the consultation process has changed. You mentioned earlier that maybe the barrier to entry and the regulation around the industry means that a lot of people can get into it and maybe aren't led in the same ethical way that you hold yourself to. But has that evolved now? Is it more commonplace for people to be driven by the same values that you have?
The majority, I think that definitely, I don't want to get into the like medic, non-medic conversation because it's very complex. But I think the majority of medical injectors, so that's doctors, nurses, midwives, that are doing aesthetics, just want to go down the natural, want clients to look natural. There's this whole industry, and we all know what bad injectables look like. And I just think it's such a shame, because that was never the aim of aesthetics. Aesthetics are for aging. You see changes going on, and we want to maybe slow it down or just make the best of what you already look like. But I'm hoping that I think the industry mainly is leading towards more natural results now. But
because I guess the stigma and the stereotype across the whole industry is perpetuated by those.
Yes, it's the pictures
that we see of
the bad
jobs, the botched jobs, and people going. Again, this is subjective though, and this is a difficult thing. I could describe someone as having gone over the top.
100%.
Whereas someone else could look at that person and say, no, that's fine.
If you can see really clearly, like obviously what someone's had, like someone's lips, then that to me is not good injectables.
Okay.
Now, obviously, if you ask me to frown, there might not be a frown that happens. But generally, I think like the person should look normal, everything in harmony, and just look like the best version of themselves. But it is such a shame, because sometimes I'll tell someone, I do aesthetics, and they're like, oh my God, what, really? Like, you do that? Like the big lips? And I'm like, no, that's not what we do. We don't do that.
But do you always feel like you're having to defend yourself against that?
There's so much, there's a stigma with it. Yeah, there's a stigma with the whole thing.
There is a stigma. I'm, again, in a completely different way, I'm on the receiving end of a stigma in my industry. You say recruitment consultant to people, immediately I think you're salesy, you're a cowboy, and you're making money from being a middleman. It's all true for the most part about the industry. I try and buck that trend, but I always feel like I am being defensive or in defense of my position, it is relational, and I'm much more bothered I get more from doing this podcast trying to inspire people to leave their jobs and start something else than I've ever got from making commission on placing someone in a job.
Oh my God, yeah, I just realised that. So you're in recruitment and then you're...
That's it, yeah. So I mean, this is why I started the podcast, because I speak to so many people that are miserable.
Yeah.
But it is exhausting, or just feeling like you should be proud of being able to say what you do.
Yeah.
And it really doesn't matter. Like if we could detach ourselves from the judgment that other people are putting towards us.
Yeah.
But I do think it's a bit of a divisive industry that you work in.
Definitely.
And you mentioned the Kardashians.
Yes. And that's what led me to it. And they don't look natural.
I mean, they unrecognisable. They look
but they look good, but they look like they've been injected. A lot.
I just think they look unrecognisable from what they used to look like.
They don't look like themselves.
So we're not enhancing, when you're saying you're enhancing the best version of yourself.
Yes.
They have literally morphed their face into something else.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So it's like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. We're just going to stick a different person where you used to be. So yeah, I do think that we're not helped. And also, you made a great point. I wasn't thinking about this, but AI generated images now.
Yeah.
And people's perception of what's realistic when they come to you.
That's what they think is like achievable.
So how
but that's not even like down to like the skin. I'm like, okay, yeah, she's got no pores because that's not her skin.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
So how do you manage those expectations? Are you faced with a lot of disappointment sometimes where people can come in and be like, this has to be achievable? Is there a bit of an education that goes on?
We're really, really transparent. Really transparent. We'll say what we can achieve, what we can't achieve. I like the term of like under promise, over deliver. I think that's kind of quite key in this industry. So we'll say, okay, I think I can, if they say, for example, someone's got a static line in their frown they don't like, and it's been there for years and it's quite deep, I'll say, we definitely can get an improvement with that. And I, in my head, think, actually, it's probably going to go after, you know, some Botox, maybe 6 months to a year's time, that line will probably disappear. I'll never promise it's going to disappear. I'll say we can definitely get an improvement there. Yeah. And then they're over the moon when they're like, oh my God, it's completely gone. Yeah. But I never used to be like that. It takes time to kind of be confident and say to clients, we're not going to be able to achieve what you want, especially when they come in. Oh God, they come in with a picture of someone else. I'm like, you look like that because that's someone else
or something.
That's someone else. And we're going to do a face transplant, like, you know. And
there's the realms of possibility, and you're thinking slightly outside of that
today. No,
unless you're the Kardashians.
I just think unless you're one of those. I just think it's a shame when people do that though, because why do you want to look different? Like, why do you want to look like a different person?
Yeah.
But I honestly think just being transparent, you don't get clients that are disappointed if you're just really open and honest and say, this is what we can do. And also I think it's okay to sometimes say, I don't know exactly how much we're going to achieve here. We're going to achieve as much as we can. We're going to have to just see it's going to be a journey rather than, it's not going to be one treatment. It's going to be a journey that we're going to go on, and we're going to do a few different treatments.
Yeah. It's not a quick fix, I guess.
Never a quick fix, no.
There's a lot of responsibility, definitely as a parent, as a mother of a daughter.
Yeah.
You mentioned things like body dysmorphia. You mentioned things like how we perceive ourselves.
Yeah.
You've got a responsibility to be a great role model for your daughter, and the things you're doing in business are just incredible. Yeah. But you must feel the weight of that too, and that drives your approach and the values you hold for yourself too. So
that's it.
I would imagine, and I don't want to put words into your mouth, but I can imagine that you probably agree with this. Anyone that sits in front of you, you can imagine that being your daughter one day, and just trying to advise in the best possible way.
Yeah.
And hoping that they would, if they were in that position, they'd be doing exactly the same.
When she was really little, I never used to tell her really what I did. So obviously she didn't need to know, she was little. And I'd kind of say, I sort of, we're trying to make out that it's not to do with vanity, it's more to do with self-confidence, what we do, yeah?
Yeah.
But, no one needs Botox. They want it, So, and I used to try and sort of tiptoe around that a bit because I didn't want her to think that as adults we're all just like wanting to change or wanting to we're not happy with ourselves. And I thought I was really concerned about it. Now she couldn't care less what I do for a job. She's really not interested. But she would definitely say something if we bumped into one of my clients and her lips were out here. She would be like, Mum, did you do that? And I think she'd be really disappointed in me.
She would hold you to account.
I think she would. I think she would, because although she's only 11, these girls, it's different. They are aware of lip filler and all of that, and they know all about this. They follow all these celebrities and everything, and they see social media. And so I do think about that because I'm like, you're never having anything. You're never having anything done, never, ever. You're perfect.
Yeah.
But I would be so gutted if she didn't like what I did. Do you know? If she thought it was wrong or anything like that. Hopefully I'm a good role model to her. I mean, she likes me taking her to the Maldives, so she's all happy about that. She's like, we're going next year. I'm like,
I think the lessons that you're teaching her is so incredibly important. And as well, just to have made the leap to go out and do something on your own. Like what an incredible role model, and what something to... just show that anything is possible. It's amazing. I did, my mum, single parent, grew up raising me and my brother, and has been self-employed for 30, she's going to hate if I actually age her now, 30 plus years. But I just think now as an adult, like maybe for your 11-year-old daughter, she's not sat there going, how inspiring all the time.
Yeah.
But when she's an adult and she's got kids, she will look back and go, holy fuck. Like, what a bloody legend. And that's where I am now. That is where I am now. I look at what my mum did and the sacrifices she made, and, studying when she was raising us, and she lobbied MPs for additional support for working mums. Yeah. Like, all off her own back while raising me and my brother. And now I know that that's a really cool thing. Yeah. But when I was 11, I couldn't give a fuck.
Do you know what?
It's don't funny. See it.
I do say to her, like you do to kids, I'm like, well, she goes, oh, you're on your phone. I'm like, I've got a message back. A client. She goes, oh, and I'm like, wow, you want to do this? You want to do that? And I can't help it. I know I shouldn't do that because it's nothing, it's not her decision whether I'm doing that.
How we justify it in our head, though, a lot of the time.
She already starts a new business every week. It's hilarious. She's had so many little businesses. She wanted a podcast, actually, so I'm surprised she didn't want to come and watch. But I always look and I think she's got all these different businesses, all these ideas that I'm always like, yeah, of course you can start a jewellery business. You want a website? Yeah, we'll do it. And I do wonder, I think, is that just her, or is it because she's like, mum's got a business, this is the way that we're... So hopefully
I'd be surprised
if
it wasn't that. I would imagine it's you that's inspired her.
Hopefully.
Like it's showing the art of the possible. Before I like you struggled to be managed, and I worked for someone. The only time I've ever worked for someone was when I started in recruitment, and that was because at the time I was a scaffolder. Someone offered me a job in December when I was on a scaffold, freezing cold, depths of winter, dark, depressing time. And someone said, do you want to work in an office? I was like, yeah. Is it warm?
Yes, please.
Has it got a kettle?
Heating,
Take me in. And that's how I started in recruitment. I did that for 6.5 years. And other than that, I've always been self-employed. And I don't think at 19, I started self-employed PT. Never would I have done that if I hadn't seen my mum run a business. Yeah. That's my gut feel, is that you are inspiring her to do that.
When you know there's other possibilities, like you've seen, so hopefully.
You don't have to go and just follow everyone else, like, into a 9 to... There's nothing wrong with a 9 to 5. I don't want to come from a position of judgment, but you've got more autonomy, more control than you think you have when it comes to work. So you are inspiring her. It's amazing.
I honestly think the ADHD has a little something to do with business. There's a lot of business owners that have ADHD. Because
you'd be amazed how many people come on the podcast, and there's a real through line there for sure. It's high reward.
You do the work, you get the reward.
So you would talk about that dopamine kind of thing,
Yeah. So you do the task, and it's like it transfers not straight into reward, but it's satisfying. You're not doing a
tangible result pretty quickly.
You're not doing something for someone else and then that's done. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. When were you? When were you diagnosed? How long have you?
Oh, it was a right shock, and everyone around me thought it was. They were like, "We've known for years," and I was like, "What?" I actually looked into it because I thought my daughter. It was Instagram that told me. Instagram diagnosed me.
Okay.
And then I was like, "Oh my God, that's me. This is me." And it was more. I was looking into it for my daughter. And then we both got diagnosed at the same time.
It's often the case. I've heard that a lot of the time.
It's my parents, and I'm like, although they're not. Apparently,
right? Okay, there's some traits. There's some similarities there for sure. Yeah. But what's your view on that? Now you've been diagnosed, is that a positive thing? Some people have a view that maybe they feel a bit. It's like, had I known sooner? Did you feel like it the detriment?
I was upset. I felt a bit like I was upset for my younger self, first of all.
Someone else has said that.
Because there was, I remember I was at uni and there was things I'd struggle with, and I'm really bad with timekeeping, really, really bad. And it seems to be something that I just can't change.
Well, you were on time this evening, just to be.
No, but I nearly came yesterday, so
you were nearly 24 hours early.
I'm not normally early. That was just weird. I don't know. I think in some ways it really helps me with the business because it makes me a little bit impulsive. I take risks and then I make sure I don't fail in those risks, kind of thing. But there are other things that I really have noticed that are a struggle. Timekeeping, financial figures. My accountant. Oh my God, I could not live without her.
Right.
She helps me so much. But anything I'm not very good at, I just delegate. I've got a really good team.
Yeah.
Like they're so good. They keep me organised.
Yeah.
You know, but So
is that a lesson? Was it hard to relinquish control when you started delegating, or did you find that quite liberating almost to go, oh, someone else take this on? Because I
do still find it a little bit hard to step back completely.
Okay.
Like I like to know what's going on and be a little bit in control. But I think it's finding the right staff members. Like that I trust them to do what they need to do and do it better than I can do it, you know.
I loved your kind of roll call that you did around Christmas of all your staff coming through.
Yeah.
That was a thing, wasn't it? Yeah. I remember seeing all of your staff kind of like coming through and it was just giving them the spotlight
they're great.
and showcasing what they do.
Good.
I thought that was amazing.
Love them all. We've got such a positive environment. We've got such lovely women that work there and it's just a nice place to be.
Yeah.
Like, I actually do love going to... I don't like the business side of it as much. I find it stressful, but, you know, that's running a business.
Yeah.
But going into clinic, it's like my happy place. I love it.
If you could strip back an element of the business that you don't like, as in the management side or the operations or admin, what would it be? What if you could just chuck one thing out and just not have to think about it anymore? What would that be?
I don't know. It's not one single thing, but it's
give me the long list.
No, it's it just. I feel like it never stops. But I think that's my brain. My brain never stops. There's never even in the Maldives. I was like, but I'm causing that. You know, I'm not completely handing things over when I go on holiday. So
do you think even if you did, your brain would switch off?
I'd be planning something. I'd be like, oh, let's do this. I can't switch off. But I think that's more me personally than it is an issue, not like a part of the business.
Yeah. I definitely think, again, though, it's a common thing for anyone running a business is that how can you switch off? I don't think I've only really been able to take time off in the last nearly 2 years since I hired someone.
Yeah.
Even when I'm off, it's just...
You still have to be full on.
Constant. Yeah, exactly. There's something whirring in the back of my brain that is making it very hard to be present. And we've spoken about that a lot on the podcast, like especially with kids. How do you maintain that presence for your children, for your family, for yourself, when you've also got this thing that you set up?
Yeah, I know.
I've done this to yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I have to put my phone aside and just be like, you know, don't look at my phone. Leave my phone down and just be present and watch a film. And that sounds so bad, but it is really hard to do when you're trying to.
And when you justify it, and there is something justifiable about it because I've done it myself to my kids, so I can relate completely. Is that my 7-year-old says this now? Everyone just spends so much time on their devices. He will say that.
My daughter said this to me earlier.
And I just like,
you're addicted to your phone.
I know.
I actually am because my business is on my phone.
Yeah. The parent guilt I feel when he goes, everyone's like, the fact he calls them devices, I'm like, you've read that or heard that somewhere.
Yeah.
But he's identifying now that I'm spending time on my phone, but there's always a justification. I've got to check emails. I've got to check LinkedIn. I'm doing this. I'm being reactive. Getting that balance right is really tough. Like, still not spoken to anyone that strikes it completely right.
Also, what we're doing with injectables, there could be a complication. I mean, complications are very, very, very rare, rare. But you always have that fear. You're always on high alert. Like someone could email you and say, "Oh, this doesn't feel right," or something could happen. And so
you've got to be on in those situations, haven't you?
I will check my emails in the night. If I wake up in the night, I'm scrolling through my email, and it's become a little bit of an addiction because you don't want to miss anything, and you want to make sure that even if it's like a lead, someone's messaged and hi, like where do I book in? Like you know, you want to make sure that you're really on it, but that becomes a little bit addictive.
Well, so I was talking to Ian from Little Finn. And we were having a conversation.
I went to school with him.
Did you really?
Yes, I did.
There you go. Yeah. He didn't mention that when he came on. But he has this mentality, I guess, where it's really difficult to switch off and just stop thinking about the next thing for fear of if you stop and you just settle, what happens if the line starts to drop? So the speculation element of always looking for new work or being open to new clients, you can't close your books. Because what if something happens and all of a sudden things just start going down.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have to work doubly hard to get them back up again. And so the argument for why we find it hard to switch off is pretty compelling.
Yeah.
Because if we switch off, the business will go start to slow down.
There's so much competition with aesthetics now as well. When I first opened the clinic, there was one other clinic on Lee Broadway, and now there's so many.
Yeah.
And this is it. And we're very lucky that it hasn't affected us. We're still growing, our numbers are increasing, but you have to work for it.
Yeah.
You have to make sure that you're out there on your socials and you're kind of pushing. And so I just think you can't take your foot off the pedal, really. If you want to keep growing, you can't.
That's it.
Yeah.
This feels like a weighted question because Lucy's set off camera right now. Like we've said to so many people how amazing Lucy is and the work that she's done for so many of the guests that we've had on is incredible. But how important is social media and putting your message out there on it to the success of your business? If you decided, she's not going to do it, but if you decided to stop posting on socials tomorrow, I guess for all of us, for anyone that runs anything where we're trying to promote it, it's like, what does that? Do you exist?
I honestly think it is so important because it's not good enough just being a good injector these days and being good at doing some Botox or, a bit of a skin booster. Clients, they want to relate to you. They want to know who they're coming to before they even walk through that clinic door. They want to make that decision on like, what you look like as an injector is really important. They want to know that I don't look completely disfigured with filler and weird. And they want to kind of, hopefully I look normal. But yeah, I honestly think it's super important. And I've noticed a massive improvement in our numbers. New clients coming through the door and they feel like they know you. It's really funny.
Well, we said we haven't met before, but you come in here tonight and I was like, I feel like I know you because of the social content you put out. How do you get the balance though? When you're already struggling with balance and being present, as we all are if we're running a business or if we've got a phone, whether you run a business or not. How do you get the balance right? How do you draw? Are you boundaried with social media, or is it the same kind of thing?
Well,
checking inboxes for leads or people that might message.
Well, I don't do any of the posting. That's all down to Lucy.
Okay.
The filming, everything is. Lucy just schedules it all in and everything. So I don't really have to think about that side of it, but I don't have any boundaries when it comes to checking social media at all like that. I don't think I ever will.
But that outsourcing and delegation again is a strength as a business owner, isn't it?
I still would be checking it every 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to miss anything.
Yeah.
And I feel like as it's my business, it's my responsibility wholly, to keep on top of it.
If you don't check it for a week...
I can't. I freak out if my phone dies.
But there's potentially, lost revenue and clients going elsewhere.
Yeah.
So I get it. It's such a hard thing to get right, isn't it?
I mean, if you look at it now with social media, the type of businesses that are... You've got like mortgage brokers that are now talking on social media and like, it's so important. And we all love a story and we're all a bit nosy, aren't we? We all want to see who's behind that, how they've got there, how they've done. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't ever go... I don't think I'd ever just go to a business these days without looking on their social media.
Yeah.
It's as important as looking at their Google reviews. I want to see what they're putting out there.
You probably go on Instagram to a social media profile before you go to a website.
Oh, 100%.
Because that's the entry point into maybe, even if you go on the website.
Our socials are...
Yeah, bang on. There's an advert for Lucy again.
yeah.
But no, I think it's really important. But again, you've delegated, you've outsourced it.
Yeah.
I know for people that haven't maybe got the means, the time, whatever, that are trying to keep that in-house, it just takes up such a massive element of space in their brain. It's just so... Yeah,
before Lucy, I did use other agencies and it just wasn't personal. I remember Lucy saying to me, like... you need to be on your social media. It's no good just having pretty images and before and after pictures aren't good enough anymore. Like everyone knows if you've got a clinic, you've got good reviews, you can do good work, but they want to know who you are and your story. Honestly, I think it's the one thing, if I started another business tomorrow, it's the one thing I'd invest in straight away.
Yeah, great point. That's a really good point.
Yeah.
I have to ask a question. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but if you're comfortable with it, I'm going to put it, like at some point now, there's going to be a picture of this picture pop up on the screen. you were doing, it looks like a single leg squat in one of the videos.
Now.
What?
You're not going to ask me to do that now
No,
because I haven't warmed up.
But I went through and I was like, how are you actually doing that? That is you doing what your brother would call a pistol squat with your leg. How?
It was
Did you
painful.
get back up?
No, I was in pain. I was in pain. It is really funny because like, sometimes I'm a little bit of a pain for Lucy to film with in a sense that I'm too busy or,
right.
I'm like, not feeling like 100% like this week. But that I was like, should we do this? Should we get the heels on and do this? It'd be really fun.
You were feeling yourself that day because I love
a silly trend.
It was amazing. That picture has to come up somewhere in the episode, but it's just incredible. And I was like, I felt on my knees.
All the good work I've done, all the results, and that's what you want to show. All that Google reviews, but I'm proud of that. That was pretty skillful.
I thought it was.
I was in pain though.
I thought that was pretty impressive. Okay, how do you switch off? I mean, we've kind of alluded to this, and but you haven't answered it yet. So I'm going to ask the question directly. But how do you switch off as a mum and a business owner? Where's your downtime? How do you ring fence that? Is that precious to you?
Yeah, I don't work weekends.
Okay.
I refuse to see clients on the weekend, so that's a little bit of a switch off. I don't know. I mean, I try to exercise, going out with the dogs. Do you want to know like that sort of thing? Or how do I mentally switch off? Because mentally I don't really switch off. I just try and keep myself busy doing other stuff.
I guess exercising one of these things, isn't it? It's one of the prescriptions we're given. Yeah. If you're having a tough time, go and exercise. That's work.
Do some reformer, that'll be fun.
But that's it's so important, but it's not, it's work. Like I don't see exercise as downtime, and if you do see it as downtime, you then start to see it as an indulgence, and then you think if you're busy, well, I cut out exercise. So maybe I don't mean that, but let's say you're walking a dog or doing something. How do you mentally switch off? You've already answered the question. You don't. Can you?
No.
And are you at peace with that?
I've always been like that. I'm a little bit like, I get a little bit obsessive with things. In a business I'm obsessed with, and my daughter obsessed with the business, and I'm fine with that. My brain's always, I do have times where I think I just can't even think about it, so I'll just do my clients, and then I guess I do switch off. I do, but then
but you love what you do, right? So maybe you don't.
I love it.
Maybe you don't feel the need to escape from it. And
I don't find it. The running the business is hard, but I still love it. Even when it's hard, I still love it.
Yeah.
So I don't really feel like, oh my God, I need a break from this. Even when I go on holiday, I love being on holiday, but I quite see that as an opportunity to think about think clearly about new business ideas or things to put in place, and So I really love it.
Well, that's a sign, feeling like you don't necessarily need to have those boundaries where you need to switch off. That just shows that you're in that.
I do, obviously. My daughter keeps me busy, and I've a great social life. I'm always out and about doing stuff. So I guess I do switch off really, but only when I want to. Not because I have to.
There you go. Exactly. What a lovely privileged position to be in as well. And that again is part of the life and the relationship with work that you built for yourself too. You've created that. So I think that's amazing. I'm going to ask you for some advice now. Oh. If that's okay.
Botox?
What does that mean? Do you know what? After this, I'm going to give you a choice on the game, because we're going to play a game at the end. Okay. I'm going to do a game, and then I'm going to ask you what you would change on my face.
Oh, are you asking me that now?
I'm going to ask you in a second, but before we do that, I'm going to ask you this question, because I just thought, let's be brave. We can make this a nice segment. Yeah. Please be kind to me though. Okay, what advice would you give someone who is great at what they do but nervous about going out and doing it alone?
Do small little steps and just keep going. If you're great at what you do, but you're nervous, just keep pushing and go back. Even I think confidence doesn't come from being good; it comes from within, really, doesn't it? You can have the skills and be great at something, but if you don't feel like you're great, then you've got to work on yourself. So I would say, even if you're already great at it, just do more training until you feel mentally that you can put yourself out there. There's loads of times when I've not felt completely confident, in even the training, when I started training other people, that was really out of my comfort zone. Just fake it. just completely, you can't fake injecting people, but you can fake feeling confident.
That's not the advice that Mel's giving.
Don't put that out there. But feeling confident, you can definitely fake. If you pretend that you're confident in something, then before you know it, you're there with your head up and you're feeling good.
Yeah,
so
I love that.
Yeah, that's what I would say. Keep pushing and just fake it.
There's a few people in my life at the minute that need to hear that, and I think I know they're great at what they do.
Yeah.
But again, it just comes from a lot of it's consistency as
yeah,
well,
definitely.
and you
just
have
got
to
keep
become
going. Time. Sometimes people just need time to know that they're. And you know, when I'm training other practitioners, I think they're amazing, and they're like, oh, I don't know, and I'm like, just keep doing it. Keep do more models. Just keep pushing, and eventually, I think you get there.
It'll click. Thank you so much. Do you want to play a game?
Yeah.
Don't know what I've let myself in for now. Come on then. Right. Let's before we play the game that I've got in here, I just thought it'd be fun. I was thinking about this on the way down. I was like, I think I'm going to ask the game. I don't think I'm going to give it the title that I was going to give it.
Oh God. Okay.
I won't even say it out loud because it would just get lost in translation. But I've come into the clinic.
Yeah.
What are you suggesting? Please, just have at it. Go for it. You've been thinking it the whole time.
No, because this is a question that I get asked every single day.
Are you sick of it?
And the answer is, what do you feel you need? It's not my job to say, we need to do that. And God, is that looking at... No. It's what do you need? What do you feel's changed? What do you feel that your eye goes to that you're not as making you not feel as confident? Because what I think might be completely different from what that person thinks. And you'd be surprised that some people will come in and you might think they might have, a really, really deep lines in their forehead, but they're bothered about the tiniest little thing here. And it really isn't about what I think. Obviously, I will say if I agree or if someone is suitable for that treatment or not, but it's not down to what I think. It's down to how the client feels. So there we go. That's my answer. So if you're happy with your face, I'll do absolutely nothing, of course.
It's just such a perfect answer, isn't it? It's just such.
I get asked that all the time. People come in and just go, so what would you do? Just look at me. What would you do? And I'm like, no, don't know. That's a trick question.
What I'm not going to do now is twist your arm to actually say what you do. But that you've answered correctly.
No,
well done.
Ethical injector. Not going to do anything. You're not sure. You can go and think about it.
I love that. I'll just go home with a mirror and just be like, what would I do? Okay, we are now going to play a game called Fact or Filler.
Okay. Oh, love that.
So I'm gonna give you a statement. And you're going to tell me if it's fact, so whether you agree with it, or if it's filler, if it's false, or if it's a load of bollocks, basically. Okay. And it is about, I've tried to make it vaguely relevant to what we're talking about now. Okay, I kind of need you more than happy for you to give some reasoning behind your answer as well. Right. So fact or filler? It's going to come up somewhere on the screen. We'll have a jingle. Botox freezes your face.
Filler.
Okay. Why do people think that? So I guess this is lending itself to if you have Botox, you're expressionless, you can't move your eyebrows and stuff. It does limit muscle movement because quite often the lines that we're trying to improve with Botox are caused by muscle action. For example, in the frown, there's muscles that are pushing in and pulling down that cause lines. So, but the aim of Botox is for you to look natural, but also rested. So we have to limit the movement a little bit. So it doesn't freeze the face completely, but it does limit movement. And that's how it works. So it limits the movement so you can't make the deep expressions that cause the lines. Understood.
But the aim is not to freeze. Some people do have Botox and they're frozen because that's what they want. Yeah. That's what they want to look like. But the aim is for you to still have some expression, but limited.
Understood. So, okay, thank you for that. Once you start having fillers, you have to have them forever.
No, and they don't last forever. Okay. Filler is made out of hyaluronic acid, which is something that we naturally produce in our body anyway. We produce that in our skin. So, and it's a gel that your body will break down on its own. So they're not permanent and you don't have to keep having them done. The aim of filler is to replace lost volume as we're starting to age because we lose volume in our face. And it's to replace that volume, not replace it, but just to kind of help slow down that volume loss to keep you looking fresh and, but no, you can have them dissolved at any point. And when they're done well, they don't look like you've had filler done. That's the whole point.
Got you.
They just look well. Yeah.
So that is
That's a filler. I didn't even do that. I didn't play
That's
your
all right.
game.
No, because
Filler.
If I don't keep reminding people, you will forget. But that's fine. Thank you. Okay, good aesthetic should be almost invisible.
Yes, 100%.
You've got to say fact.
Yes, it's meant to look like you've not had it done.
No, you've got to say fact.
But we want people to look like they haven't had it done. I'm not getting sucked into this game. Fact.
Okay. Fact. Brilliant.
Fact.
Okay. You can always tell when someone's had Botox.
Is there an in-between option for the fact and filler? If you ask someone to frown, they won't be able to frown.
Okay.
But I think you only know if you have Botox yourself, like what to look out for. I don't know. If it's done well, then not really. I don't know. I'm not picking one of that one. I don't know.
You're staying on the fence.
Yeah, I'm staying on the fence.
I don't usually loud depends, but I think that's fair.
Okay.
I think it's fair in that one. That's
that.
all right. No worries. Lip fillers stretch the lips over time.
No, that is filler.
Okay.
Yeah.
So why is that the case? I would imagine you've got an element of elasticity on your lips.
Yeah.
And again, it depends how much filler you're having.
100%. We use such small amounts.
Okay.
Tiny amounts. You think one syringe is a fifth of a teaspoon, and very rarely I don't often use a whole syringe. We do like half of a syringe and etc. So they're really tiny amounts, and also the filler that goes into lips is very soft.
Right.
Very soft, and to move, so with expression. It's only if someone goes over the top, then so that is a filler.
Thank you so much. Men are one of the fastest growing groups getting aesthetic treatments.
I think that's probably fact, because we have lots of male clients, and it's really lovely to see that they're getting the secrets as well.
Yeah.
We're not just getting all of the good stuff and like staying. Yeah.
I'm going to say this. It's not outing him because he's on your Instagram grid, but Buster is on your Instagram
grid, isn't
Buster,
he? As well? Yeah, he came in. He was actually a model for something as well for us, so he was more than happy to be filmed.
I don't think he'd have any issue in us talking about him now.
No.
But what was the treatment that he was having?
So he had polynucleotides. So polynucleotides. Have you heard of the salmon? Everyone hears about the salmon DNA, the salmon sperm, all that. Yeah,
I was talking about it yesterday.
The Kardashians love talking about that one as well. Yeah. Can't believe I'm even mentioning them in this, but they, so it's an injectable that helps activate the fibroblasts in the skin to produce more collagen, basically. So it's like activating your own body system to act younger. So the cells then act younger. You get more hydration in the skin. It helps elasticity. So so that is a fact. Brilliant. I think with the men, I'm sure, because they're all coming in.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you're seeing it firsthand, aren't you? You're on the front line. So okay. Most bad aesthetics results come from poor training.
Poor treatment, did you say?
Poor training.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Say it again, bad.
So most bad aesthetic results come from poor training.
Poor trading.
Poor training. So if you're being trained in the wrong way to do...
Training. Okay.
I'm so
I was
sorry.
Like trading. Yeah. Or greedy injectors. People not saying no.
Right.
So I think, poor training, 100%. I'd say fact, but greedy injectors as well.
Yeah, that
just injecting because they want the money, and then the client looks overfilled and doesn't look natural.
Okay, so that lends us, I think, leads really nicely into the last one. The biggest skill in aesthetics is restraint.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not the biggest skill, but let's say a skill in aesthetics is restraint. So knowing when to stop.
100%. Okay. 100%. Knowing when to stop is super important. If someone leaves looking unnatural, I just would be so disappointed in myself. So fact.
Brilliant. That's it. That's the game. What do you think, everyone?
Oh, that was great.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the validation, Lucy. It's all I need. All I need is a small smattering of applause. Closing tradition on the podcast, Mel. This is a question from my mum. So my mum sends in a voice note. Let's find out what she's asked this week. My mum's name's Lisa. If you wanted to answer back.
Hi, Melissa. What's the number one reason, in your opinion, why women choose to have aesthetic treatment? And has this changed in the last few years? Thank you.
What's the number one reason that women come in to have treatments? Yeah,
I am going to make a comment quickly. My mum never turns the radio off when she leaves voice notes. Have you noticed that? Every time there's Radio 2 in a bloody background. Anyway, sorry.
The number one reason, they just want to feel better about themselves. That's the number one reason, is just, they're coming in and just I feel like I look a bit tired, and I feel like I just want to look like me, but just a little bit better. And it definitely has changed, because I think people would be really surprised if they saw what sort of clients we actually treat. All different ages. I had a lady come in today, and she was in her 70s, and she was like, is it too late for me to start? I went, it's never too late to look after yourself, and it is self-care, you know. So that's the answer really. It's just to feel a little bit more confident.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if I can add to Mum's question, I don't usually do this, but what is the most common, is there a most common treatment
actual
that you're
treatment,
seeing?
Is that what she meant?
No, I don't think that is what she meant, but I'm chucking, it is Botox, right?
It's Botox is the most common treatment.
Has that evolved over the years?
Botox, I think, will always be the number one. We have seen a massive increase in skin treatments. So when I first trained, it was never really about skin health or everything. It was literally, you see a line, fill a line, like I said earlier.
Right, okay.
But now it's much more skin health, skin rejuvenation, not just looking good, but the skin actually behaving as good as it could, you know?
Okay.
And treating the face as a whole as well. Clients used to come in and be like, I want these done. Whereas now it's more of a conversation. Let's assess your whole face, because it looks more natural when we do that, when we treat the face on a whole.
Yeah.
But
it's like a domino effect, I can imagine as well. Like if certain lines have appeared, it's at the same time other lines are appearing as well. So
And our face ages in so many different ways. It's not just lines and wrinkles. There's the volume loss. We get bone changes. Everything changes. So it's looking at all of those things and making that assessment. And that has definitely changed. It never used to really be like that.
Brilliant. I think that answers Mum's question and my question.
Brilliant.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm going to level with you. I think I came at this conversation from a place of ignorance around aesthetics, and I just really appreciate your honesty and transparency around your approach, because I think knowing that there are practitioners like yourself out there that are aligning themselves with ethical values and doing it from a position of the position that you're doing it, I think is really heartening to hear. Because maybe if I'm honest, I may have fallen on that side of just not knowing. Especially as a guy, you can sit there and go, I am so ignorant to this, but I already feel more clued up. And again, we could do a whole podcast specifically with you teaching me more than I could ever learn about the process. But I just want to thank you for your transparency and for being so open about it, because it's been really educational, but also you are an inspiration to your daughter.
Thank you.
And I think what you've built is amazing. So thank you so much for giving up your evening.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me. It's been great.
You're welcome. Well done. Smashed it, man.
Thank you.
That was so good.